It's October 31st, so you know what that means. 31 days of Halloween here on RP Gaming. Figured I'd kick things off with a top 10 of my favorite horror movies. Keep in mind this is only my opinion. Yours is probably different, so let me know in the comments what some of your favorite horror movies are. And without further ado, here's number 10. Number 10. VHS. Number 10 goes to VHS. Now I think we can all agree that most found footage movies are pretty awful, but there are a few gems from the genre, VHS being one of the best. VHS shows several different stories all linked together as people watching various VHS tapes. Think Faces of Death, but a little more fantastical. The tapes feature demons, ghosts, zombies, serial killers, aliens, basically every horror trope you can think of. It's a pretty well made smorgasbord of horror, and I definitely suggest checking out VHS. Number 9. Sinister. Number 9 is Sinister. The first time I watched Sinister, I really wasn't impressed. But then on my second viewing, something struck me. The music. For whatever reason, the sounds and music in this movie freaked me out. I don't know what it was. It was some subconscious trigger that just freaked me out. Plus, the homemade movie scenes are pretty freaky. So, definitely check out Sinister. I haven't seen the sequel, but Sinister is definitely worth checking out. Number 8. Behind the Mask. Behind the Mask, The Rise of Leslie Vernon. Long name, but a really interesting movie. Half of it is filmed in a documentary style, with a group of filmmakers following the life of a serial killer who is in training to become the next Michael Myers or Jason Voorhees. How a serial killer could be that open about his hobby without getting arrested is beyond me, but we'll forget about that. The second half of the movie is your standard slasher film, and a pretty decent one at that. Since the documentary filmmakers know all the serial killer's tricks, it makes for an interesting battle of mind versus mind. Plus, Robert Englund, aka Freddy Krueger, and Zelda Rubinstein, aka the little old lady from Poltergeist, are both in it. That's reason enough to check it out. Number 7. The Cabin in the Woods. Now my number 7 spot was hard to fill. It was either the original Chainsaw Massacre or Cabin in the Woods. But after some soul searching, I went with Cabin in the Woods. It's a very interesting and pretty fun movie. Now, I'm gonna try and keep this as spoiler free as possible, so go check out Cabin in the Woods. But basically, the movie follows a group of typical teenagers, you know, the nerd, the jock, the whore, the party animal, the pothead. The movie follows them as they go spend the weekend in a cabin in the woods. And of course, this is a horror movie, so all hell breaks loose. And that's about as much as I can say without spoiling it, so go check out Cabin in the Woods. Number 6. Trick or Treat. Trick or Treat, the perfect Halloween movie, is my number 6 favorite horror movie. It's amazing and has to be the best movie to watch on Halloween. It just has that Halloween feel that isn't matched by any other movie that at least I've ever seen. Trick or Treat follows several different characters, all in the same town, all on the same Halloween, with all interlocking stories. All the different stories are interesting in their own way, and they all tie back together, so you gotta watch the entire movie all the way through, and keep note of what's going on in each story. It's a really fun and interesting film, and like I said, it's definitely the best movie to watch on Halloween. It's not my favorite horror movie, but it's the best Halloween movie. Number 5, The Blair Witch Project. Okay, The Blair Witch Project. Now, for whatever reason, a lot of people don't like The Blair Witch Project. The other day, I actually saw an article that said Blair Witch was downright an awful film. And I read the comments, and the first one I saw was that they should remake it and actually show the creature. No, they should not. That is an awful idea. That would be an awful movie. Don't fucking do it. Shit, go watch the second Blair Witch Project and you'll see how stupid of an idea that is. Anyway, I fucking love this movie, and I've loved it ever since I was a child. I remember my dad renting the VHS from Blockbuster back in the day, and the entire time I'm watching the movie, keep in mind I'm like 7 years old, I'm freaking out, but I keep telling myself, if there's credits at the end of this movie, that means somebody made it and it didn't really happen. Well, whatever VHS version we were watching, it didn't have credits, so the movie ended, and it didn't show anything. It just ended. Needless to say, I didn't sleep that night. I was pretty sure something was going to come out of my closet and kill me. The movie is scary, realistic, gritty. The settings are amazingly scary, and it's just an all-around great film. Ignore all the critics and check out The Blair Witch Project if you haven't already seen it. I would assume most people have, but check it out. It is definitely worth a second and third watch, in my opinion. Number 4, The Fly. One of the best remakes ever made. The Fly is disgustingly awesome. I went back and forth trying to decide if this really fell into the horror movie genre, but ultimately, I couldn't make the list without including The Fly. A scientist creates a machine for teleportation. You enter a pod, and you're split into a billion little pieces and sent over to the next pod. Simple science, people. Why isn't this a thing? Well, the scientist is testing his machine, and a fly enters the same pod as our main character. Their atoms or whatever are all spliced and split and combined, and all hell breaks loose. If you have a sensitive stomach, don't watch this movie. But there's one thing that's always bugged me. What happened to the fly? Is there like a little fly-sized Jeff Goldblum running around, or why is that never brought up? Why isn't that a movie? I want to see little miniature. It'd be like The Borrowers, but more graphic. Number 3, Friday the 13th. I honestly couldn't decide which Friday the 13th to put here, so I'm gonna put them all. I guess if I had to choose one, I'd probably go with Friday the 13th, Jason Lives. It's a movie that really establishes Jason as a zombified killing machine that we all know and love. But honestly, if I'm in the mood to watch Friday the 13th, I'm gonna watch all of them. I'm gonna start at the beginning and binge watch every one of them. I can't not watch all 11 movies, but I can definitely skip the remake. Number 2, The Thing. My second all-time favorite horror movie is The Thing, and I'm talking about the 80s remake, The Thing. A group of scientists are out in Antarctica when a shape-shifting alien makes its way into their group. The Thing is terrifying and suspenseful. You never know who is an alien and who isn't. It really leaves you on the edge of your seat. Honestly, I think this idea could make for an amazing video game. Oh, that's a thing already, and it's not good. Okay. Anyway, this movie came out in 1982 and still holds up to this day. The practical effects are some of the best of all time. They're disgusting and amazing, and I don't understand why more filmmakers don't use practical effects. It looks good forever. It'll never look bad. The only thing that even comes close in the way of practical effects would be The Fly. But yeah, check out The Thing. But you can skip the remake prequel thing. Just don't watch that one. Number 1, A Nightmare on Elm Street. Just like Friday the 13th, Nightmare on Elm Street is one of those series where I'm just gonna watch all of them at once. I'm not gonna be able to pick my favorite. Well, that's not entirely true. I guess if I had to pick one, it would be Nightmare on Elm Street 3, Dream Warriors. It's my favorite. They're all great, but that's my favorite. Now, if you don't already know, Freddy Krueger was a child serial killer and child molester in some movies if they're unedited. Now, he is chased, trapped, and burned alive by the parents of his victims. But Freddy promises that he'll be back. And now he's a supernatural killer who stalks their kids in their dreams. And did I mention he has a really rad knife glove? The best weapon of any horror movie, monster, serial killer, whatever. It's the best thing ever. And like I said, go watch them all. Start at the beginning, watch all Nightmare on Elm Streets. Except the remake. You can skip that one too. There you have it. That's my top 10 favorite horror movies. Rest in peace, Wes Craven. Nightmare on Elm Street, my favorite horror movie of all time. Scream is excellent. It didn't make my top 10, but maybe it should have. But leave me a comment. Let me know what some of your favorite horror movies. Maybe I overlooked them. Maybe I've never seen them. So give me some suggestions what I should check out. Please subscribe. Leave me a thumbs up. And this is only day 1 of 31 days of Halloween. We've got a whole lot more Halloween videos coming up every day of October. So please subscribe, and I'll talk to you later.